and we don't use it, we get to make every excuse the reason that we can't use that talent. We make every excuse why. That, Lord, I just ain't worthy. Or, Lord, I just, many times we make excuses why that we just like this man did. It was believed that money was hidden in the ground was as secure as it could be. This man thought this was the best way to do it. Best way to do this thing is bury it in the ground, and then that way nobody will touch this thing. As Brother Mitch, is that what we get into sometimes? We get to thinking in our own mind that, hey, it's best, I've always heard this stuff, and it's best to prefer your brother before yourself. A long time, that was my mentality. Well, Larry, it's better to let you do it than me. Brother Larry or Brother Mitch or so-and-so, they could really do it better than me. They're sort of a better teacher than I am, or they're better at this than I am. They're better at that. But all that is Lane's excuses. You'll read, as we read on, you'll find out that's what he told him. He said, all these excuses you're using is Lane's excuses. These excuses that you got, they don't even stand up. Because of what you're doing, you're lacking. It says, after a long time, Lord of those servants cometh and reckoned with them. And so he that had received 5 talents came and brought another 5 talents, saying, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 5 talents. Behold, I have gained besides them 5 more talents. In other words, what you give me, Lord, I've added to him. The first servant brought the double money, and his master was pleased with him, his efforts, and with his profit. Hey, you done good. I'm proud of you. It says, his Lord said unto him, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many things. Enter into the joy of the Lord. So he told him, come on in. The reward for the servant's faithfulness is even greater responsibility. Just as I was talking about Brother Mitch, as he growed and stuff, his responsibility didn't just stop playing the piano. His responsibility grew greater and greater. Now playing the piano is probably his least responsibility. If you probably go back there and ask him, he'd probably say, hey, I'd like for that to be my only responsibility. I could probably come in and play it, and then when it's over, it's over. But there's more that he has to do. Not that he don't want to, it's because the Lord has blessed him and more talents. But see, what we get to thinking is that's our only service, brother Jim. Hey, so-and-so can do it better than me. Or so-and-so, so what we're doing, we're missing out on the talents that God has really given us to do, because we make lame excuses as we read on. It says, and he also that had received 2 talents came and said, Lord, thou deliverest unto me 2 talents. Behold, I have gained 2 other talents besides them. The second servant had also faithfully fulfilled his responsibility. He done good. He had been given less money, but he had done everything he could and brought a double return to the master. Because, Brother Jim, as I said, the Lord didn't put no more on him than he could bear. He knew the first one could handle more talents, so each and every talent he gave him. He didn't put no more on him because he had faithfully discharged his responsibility. Even though he had less than the first servant, he received the same reward and privileges. We are responsible to use well what God has given us. That is our responsibility, is to use what God's given us. Not to make lame excuses, not to make every kind of excuse that we can, but it is our responsibility to use what God has given us. The issue is not how much we have, but how well we use what we do have. How well are you going to use the talents that God gave you? Each believer should faithfully carry out the duties entrusted to him or her by God and multiply his or her God-given gifts for the sake of the kingdom. That is our responsibility to do that. It's up to each and every one of us. His Lord said unto him, well done, good and faithful servant. Thou hast been faithful over a few things. I will make thee ruler over many. Enter into the joy of the Lord. He told him, he said, enter in. You've done good. It says, then he which had the one talent came and said, Lord, I knew thee that thou art an hard man, reaping where thou hast not sown, gathering where thou hast not strawed. Lord, I knew that you would be a hard man. So the reason that I done this, he made every kind of excuse for the Lord. You know, I started to do the same thing. I got to reading Brother Zach, and I started to do the same thing. Come Friday, you know, it's a lot easier. If you ain't never taught, Brother mine, it's a lot easier whenever you think, well, I probably ain't got nothing this week. So you know who I call? I call Brother Mitch. I say, hey, Brother Mitch,